Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're talking about hurricane season, or the final hurricane season outlook for the rest of the hurricane season, including the rest of October. We have it in this video. We have question marks to, at the end of the video, we'll reveal all these question marks. So watch to the end to see what all these question marks, what they have on them. So let's get into the video though. First off, we will have probably another video coming out later today on thank you for 100 subscribers. I can't even believe we're at 100 subscribers. We just made it today, I guess. So I put our milestone on here, our subs. So yeah, thank you guys so much for that. We'll talk about it in another video coming out in a little bit. Let's go to the National Hurricane Center, and we see there are no storms in the Atlantic for the next few days at least. Beta is the only thing on here. Soon they'll be off of here. Soon there will be just nothing on here. Probably just a little bit, and then soon there might be more. So remnants of beta is still going on. Let's look at tropical storm Longwell. Right now this is a tropical storm. Just turn into depression. We'll get close to Hawaii, but that'll be a depression if it hits Hawaii. But then we have another storm, a 20% chance of development for the storm here. So we're going to have to watch that. If it gets very active here, it could start getting active over here in this area soon. So that's what we're talking about in this video. So let's get to the main part of this video, is talking about the rest of this hurricane season. So it's probably gonna be starting to get active in about a week, possibly from now, 2 weeks from now. Right now we're seeing reds in the Atlantic. That's why we're not seeing anything on there but beta, and then we have some reds for this area here. But there's a little bit of tropical development trying to develop in this area. So, but the storms have been developing in this red stuff. Red is less favorable for tropical storms and hurricanes and all that. Greens are more favorable, and we've had reds on here for quite a while, and they've been developing in this area. That's surprising. Let's look forward to this Saturday. That was today. We're going to look at Saturday. And we see Saturday we still have reds in the Atlantic, but we see some greens trying to move into the Atlantic. But we still see some reds. Most of the Atlantic and Gulf are in the reds. So let's go forward to around Monday. And we still see some reds in the Gulf, but we see some actually whites there now. So that means it's going to be a little more favorable, but not the most favorable. But it's probably better than those reds, so that is bad news for the U.S. And yeah, let's look forward to Wednesday, September 30th, actually October 1st, probably still actually that Wednesday, September 30th. You see some of those reds clear out of the Gulf. Some of those areas are starting to clear out. Actually see some greens for this area over here. You see some reds in the main development region, but we're going to have to worry about around the Gulf area. Let's look forward to now Friday, October 2nd, and we still see some of those reds still, but not as many as there was. And also red means sinking air, green means rising air. And we see some of the main development region and the Gulf not in rising air, but not in sinking air either. So there could be some tropical development starting this October. We're going to look forward to Saturday. We see some green starting again for this area. That means rising air. So there's going to be tropical development possibly starting around October 3rd. On the main development region, red, so that's good news. But around the Gulf, we have rising air. That means it's going to be possible. The greens mean it's favorable for tropical development. Let's look at Sunday, and we see tons of greens, and for the Gulf and all these areas here, we're going to watch that very closely. If storms develop, could move right into the U.S. Possibly, we're going to watch that closely whenever that happens. Let's look forward a little more. We see some of those rains still around by October 6th. We still see some red or greens. We even see some greens off of Africa. So we could see a lot of tropical development starting up in October. Then it continues with a lot of that green going into Friday, October 9th. Don't forget, this is too far out to say, so it could change. We see a lot of those greens, even including the main development region, so we could be seeing a very active rest of October, or early October, and still the peak of hurricane season. So don't take your guard down, especially with all these greens. And then we're looking at Saturday, October 10th. This could definitely change, but look at this. Look at how much rising air, how much development is possible in this area. There's going to be possibly a lot of tropical development. We could get really far into the Greek names this year. If this does play out like it says. Something else I want to say, the Gulf right now is not favorable for tropical development because of our hurricanes or any of that. If there is something to develop, there's going to be too much shear. Right now we see not much shear in the Gulf, so if there was anything that went in the Gulf, maybe if it was near Texas, heading toward Texas, it would lose some of its strength because of that shear, but we are not seeing much shear. The U.S. is getting most of the shear. But as we look forward, a little more forward, we see the shear is kind of moving out. This would be probably the perfect time for a tropical storm, hurricane, or disturbance to develop, because there won't be much shear in the Gulf at the time. So that'd be bad news if that did happen, but most likely it won't. We're going to look forward a little more, and we're starting to see those reds still in for the U.S. We see not much shear for the Gulf, and then we're going to look forward even more. We still see quite a bit of shear off the coast, but we don't see much shear around like this area here where they can get their act together. But as we get closer into like Tuesday, September 29th, we see tons of getting shear in the Gulf, so that's why I'm thinking that there's going to be a little bit of a hard time of storms making it through that, because tropical storms and hurricanes do not like shear, or tropical development doesn't. We see that shear continuing in the Gulf, but not as strong as it was, so that means there still could be a possibility for tropical development. We see some of that shear coming back to that area, so I think it's going to be a little less favorable for this area here for hurricanes or tropical storms, but still we could be getting some around down here. We still could get a storm that moves up in this area, it just won't be as favorable of it getting to a strong hurricane, so that's some good news by at least October 1st, and the shear stays in the Gulf for at least until October 4th. You still see quite a bit of shear getting more and more into the Gulf, so we could be getting not that strong storms, because hurricanes do not like shear like so. And we continue on, and we still see that shear staying in the Gulf, so that's some good news we have there. But then we see around the end of this model run, we're seeing some that shear starting to weaken a little bit of that shear, but we see it start to come back showing, so that could be a sign that could possibly not be that many strong storms now for the U.S. unless if it gets past that shear somehow. But yeah, let's look at a little bit of the vorticity, I think it's called. I think that's what they call it. So we see the two storms, Teddy and Beta. This was a few days ago, so that's why it shows those. Let's move on to land. But if we look at this, we see some development off of this area over here. Not much development near the Gulf at the time. Maybe a little bit, but not much. Showing development, some storm possible down there. That could be a disturbance. So it looks like the area over here will be very active. Showing here, look at the model. Watch that. You see there are some storms that try to develop on here. It's showing another storm. Look at that storm. That looks like possible hurricane. So that's what we're seeing there. Let's look at not that. Total precip. Not total. Wait. I'm trying to figure out which one it was that I was looking at. Oh yes, this one. Okay. So we see those storms developing. We see there's possible disturbance that could develop in South America. And we could see some storm develop and move into this area there, as it shows there, and hit Mexico. We don't see any really moving toward the Gulf, possibly hitting Mexico there. We really don't see any hitting the Gulf. We do see a little disturbance there by October 10th, but not for sure. But we're going to have to watch that closely. So let's look what's behind these question marks, and here it is. First off, the pink region is the main development region. This is where all the storms could develop, move toward any of these areas here, into the yellow area, or the red area, or the middle of those. The red area is the storms could develop and move toward the Gulf, because they could develop around this area. This area that could start getting storms to develop in, and possibly move toward the Gulf and impact the Gulf. So, and then the Gulf is in flip-flops. So at times I think with the shear and all that, they could be less favorable for tropical, like hurricanes and all that, because it will weaken those storms. The shear, that could definitely change on the models and everything. But right now, I just put on flip-flop because at times it could be favorable for tropical development. At times it couldn't, and probably won't be favorable for tropical development. And then if storms move up toward this region up here, they could possibly move that way. If they move toward this area, it could. There is a little bit of shear that's showing on this region too. So I'm not gonna say for sure if it'll be that bad of a storm if it moves toward that area, but it could. If a storm moves around, develops in this region and moves like in this kind of path, the storm could still impact the U.S. But it would be in that shear. But if the shear didn't get to it yet, it could still strengthen and then start weakening once it gets into that shear. So it's still possible these storms here that develop, if they do develop, could move toward the U.S. But thank you everyone though for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Sorry I didn't have the thumbnail thing at the beginning of the video. I know the thumbnail, it's already on the thing, but like I was having issues with that, so it took me a little bit of time to do that. But thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. See you guys in the next video. Goodbye.